Hello everyone, welcome to the seventh week of our lesson in salaries and wage management. So we are now on our seventh week. For this week, your our topic is about on incentive schemes. So I repeat, our topic for this week is about incentive schemes. So for the learning objectives, you are expected to define the different kind of incentives. And then second, you are also expected to explain the different plans in managing incentives. And then third is you are expected also to examine the attitudes of workers. And lastly, you should define the techniques in developing a policy on promotions. So, what is this incentive schemes? So, it is said that wages must not be increased arbitrarily in response to union pressure or political expediency to prevent closure of business farms and the loss of thousands of jobs. And then the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, okay, employers, or the Employers Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, had their symposium at the Philippine International Convention Center, and they have agreed that wages must not be increased, or the nations in this organization or association agreed that wages must not be increased arbitrarily in response to union pressure or political expediency to prevent closure of business farms and the loss of thousands of jobs. And aside from that, they have also agreed that the higher, or they stressed that the higher wages can only be supported by higher productivity. Okay? So that was the result of the symposium of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Employers during a symposium at the Philippine International Convention Center. And then with this incentive scheme, the measure of labor productivity does not measure the efficiency of labor. And an overall measure of this is impossible. Okay? So what can be measured then? So what can be measured is the increase in output resulting from all factors that contribute to reducing labor input per unit of output. So that is the better and more efficient use of machinery and equipment, better workflow, and consequently a reduction in time, reduction of waste, and increased efficiency of the worker. So today, productivity consciousness is found practically in all levels of employees, from executives to those occupying the lower ranked jobs in the organization. And at all levels, incentives are in evidence, and monetary incentives are also observed to be effective in boosting higher levels of productivity. But then, incentives do not only include monetary rewards. Okay, ang incentive kasi is not only financial or monetary, but also the pressure exerted upon the wage earner by his women folk at home that spurs him to greater efforts that will sure a commensurate increase in his income. Or sometimes the pressure also of the family, okay, could make, okay, the person find ways to increase his income. Okay, so what are the types of incentive? So simply we have the financial or monetary, so and the non-financial. So when we say financial or monetary, these are incentives in which payments are directly adjusted to units of output, and those in which payments are based on a combination of time and output units according to an established formula. And of course, we have an incentive that is not based in monetary or non-financial incentives. Okay. We have types of incentives. So we have simple incentive plan. So these plans can be based either on a price per unit for a unit of output or on straight time worked. In the particular case of a straight piecework system, a constant rate is paid per unit of output without any specified minimum or guaranteed rates. So we have under this is the piece rate plan. So it is probably the oldest type of incentive system used today. So it has its origin in the ancient craft trades where a worker was paid for each unit of output and then only if it met rigid quality inspections. So it has a result, it has an output, it is a product, but it must meet uh, the required quality. Okay, and if it has met the required quality, then an incentive will be given to the worker. Okay, and then this piece rate plan also is the simplest plan involving paying the employee a fixed amount for each piece produced and accepted. When we say produce or piece produced, it is the product, okay, that the worker has produced in a given period of time required by the company or the organization or the employer. Okay, and we also have the standard hour plan. So we have the piece rate plan and now we go to the standard hour plan. It is similar to the piece rate except that the standard hour plan is based on a standard expressed as a percentage or an index of the actual time worked in relation to standard time. Let's take this for example, and please bear with me if I have to uh, read it slowly para maintindihan ninyo. Okay? So for example, if an employee produces 360 units in a week's time, so 1 week, nakapag-produce yung employee ng 360 units. Okay? Whereas the standard is 40 hours times 8 units. Okay? Yung standard lang is, or yung hinihingi lang dapat is in 40 hours, okay, 8 units. Imumultiply yun sa 8 units per hour or 320. Okay? So, in 1 week, ganito yon. So, for an employee, in 1 week, may 40 hours siya. Okay? Na makakapag-produce siya ng within that 40 hours times 8 units, makakapag-produce siya ng 320. Okay. In 1 week. Pero itong example natin, yung employee in 1 week ay nakapag-produce ng 360 units. So, sobra sa standard na 320 na dapat na i-produce niya. Parang sumobra siya ng 40 units. Tama? So, this would mean that the employee produced 40 units. So, mas nakapag-produce siya ng mas marami. Okay? Nasobrahan yung standard na 320 units na dapat na i-produce niya, nasobrahan niya ng 40 units. So, this is interpreted as having worked 45 hours. Okay? Instead of 40 hours, or an equivalent of 112.5%. Okay? So, yung 40 hours na pagtatrabaho niya, okay, ay kung kukunin natin or kung i-base natin sa kanyang units na na-produce, which is 360 units, yung 360 units na yon, okay, when we calculate everything, ay matatrabaho niya dapat, okay, within 45 hours. Okay? So, meaning to say, sumobra siya sa units, kaya yung working hours niya is, tawag nito, yung efficiency niya is, nagkaroon siya ng 40 hours or 45 hours rather, which is equivalent to 112.5% efficiency. So, lumampas siya sa 100% efficiency. Okay? So, that is 40, which means 40 hours, divided by 320 units, times 100. Ang equivalent nun is 112, in percentage is 112.5%. So, as such, the employee is entitled to 12.5 dahil lumampas siya sa 100%, nasobrahan siya ng 12.5% efficiency, entitled yung employee or yung worker to 12.5, parang yung sobra niya, as incentive bonus. Okay? So, I hope you're getting it. So, yung 12.5 na yon as incentive bonus, kung yung worker ay nakaka-receive ng 2,000 as total weekly pay para sa 40 hours na pagtatrabaho niya. Okay? So, bukod sa 2,000 na matatanggap niya, magkakaroon siya, i-multiply natin kung ano man yung 12.5% ng 2,000 na yan, yun yung madadagdag sa matatanggap niya na total weekly pay. So, yung 2,000 na yan times 12.5% na bonus for efficiency, yun yung ang equivalent nun in peso is 250 pesos. So, therefore, yung 2,000 na standard na natatanggap ng employee, okay, weekly, as his total pay is madadagdagan ng 250 pesos. So, magiging 2,250 pesos yung kanyang total weekly pay dahil sumobra yung kanyang produce na units, okay, against, sumobra siya ng produce na units, lumampas siya, okay, ng produce na units compared to kung ano yung standard na dapat na ma-produce lang niya in a week. Okay? So, I repeat, or to make it simpler, so the employee has to work 40 hours a week, sabihin natin a week. Okay? And in that 40 hours, he must produce 320 units. Okay, so 40 hours, 320 units. But then, within that 40 hours na pagtatrabaho niya, nakapag-produce siya ng 40 units more. So, 320 plus 40 units is nakapag-produce siya ng 360 units, which is mas mataas sa nire-require sa kanya na i-produce. Okay, mas mataas sa nire-require sa kanya na i-produce dapat niya. So, lahat yon kinompute. Okay, so, ang nangyari, yung 360 units na na-produce niya is maproproduce yon kung magtratrabaho yung worker within 45 hours. Pero dahil nga nagawa niya yung 360 units in 40 hours lang, nagkaroon siya ng more than 100% efficiency, which is naging 112.5 efficiency. Okay, na naging, nung kinompute ulit, yung 112.5 efficiency na yon, madadagdagan yung kanyang tatanggapin na supposed to be 2,000 weekly lang, nadagdagan ng 250 pesos. Kaya yung supposed to be na 2,000 pesos na sasahurin niya for the week, dahil sobra yung ginawa niya na units, nadagdagan siya ng 250. Kaya sa kabuuan, makakatanggap siya ng 2,250 for the week. Standard hour plan. Okay, ang tawag doon. Of course, ano ba yung mga elements, ano ba yung mga nilalaman ng formula sa standard hour plan? We have the hours, we have the units, okay, and then we have the efficiency in the percentage form. Okay, so to compute the total weekly pay based on standard hour plan, here's the formula. Okay, so the total weekly pay is equal to rate per hour. Yung rate per hour na yon, times standard hours per week times efficiency rate. Okay, and then the rate of payment per hour, we have the standard, or which is fixed weekly pay over the standard hours per week. For the efficiency rate, 1 plus the actual number of units produced minus the standard number of units produced divided by the standard number of units produced times 100. Ito yung percentage efficiency rate. Ito yung percentage, yung percent na nakita nyo sa example kanina. And then we have the equivalent hours is equal to the actual number of units produced. So actual number of units produced, which is 360 times standard hours na 40 hours divided by actual number of units produced. So divide it by 360 units ulit. And then time saved is equal to equivalent hours minus standard hours. So applying the formula from the given scenario above, if the employee produced ito na yung very simple explanation. If the employee produced 360 units, okay, to compute for the equivalent hours of completing 360 units, we have the equivalent hours, 360 units times 40 hours. Okay, the 360 units, it's the actual units produced times 40 hours. This is the standard hour. Tignan niyo yung formula ng equivalent hours dito. Okay, times 40 hours divided by 320 units. We have the standard number of units produced. Okay, yon ay magiging 45. Doon nakuha yung 45 hours. Okay, and then let's continue to compute for the equivalent hours of completing 360 units. Ito, 45 hours. And then time saved. Ang time na na-save niya is 5 hours. Okay, so 45 hours minus kung ano yung standard na number of hours dapat ng pagtatrabaho niya, which is 40 hours. Okay, kinompute yung trinabaho niyang hours sa standard hours, dapat naging the difference is 5 hours. Yun yung time saved ng employee. So for the rate of payment per hour, 2,000, that is the standard rate for 40 hours. Divide it by 40 hours. Okay, so ang hourly rate niya is 50 per hour. And then efficiency rate, so ito, so 112.5 Saan nakuha yon? 1 plus 360 minus 320 divided by 320 times 100. Okay, magiging 112.50%. So, the total weekly pay, if you follow the formula, will be all in all 2,250 pesos. Okay, so dun nakuha yung total weekly pay ng employee who worked for 40 hours and produced 360 units. Okay? So, there are advantages of these two basic incentive wage plans, and they are simple and easy for the employee to calculate, and then employers reward the worker in direct relation to output, and they are practical or firm to administer. And then lastly, this plan can also be applied with equal ease to a group of employees as well as to an entire labor force. Actually, those two incentive wage plans are simple. As long as you follow the formula, it is very simple to compute. It is direct. Okay, it is direct relation to the worker, the reward. The company rewards the worker in direct relation to output. What he has produced is directly his reward is, parang ganon. Okay, it is easy to administer, okay, or it is easy to implement, and it is actually generally applied with equal ease for the employer and of course for the worker at the same time. Okay, and then we have also what we call the premium system. So for the premium system, under this method, incentive pay provides for a particular piece or time rate of wages, but changes the rate or makes additional payments for production beyond a specified output or for savings in time. And for this premium system payments, these are very slight at the beginning, and it gradually rises as the worker becomes more efficient, reaching a maximum at complete attainment of the standard. So mag-umpisa muna sa kung ano yung minimum, and then slightly or it gradually rises. So the payment gradually rises kung magiging mas efficient, mas competent na yung worker hanggang ma-reach niya yung maximum, okay, of the standard. And this plan enjoys the advantage of providing a minimum day rate and a graded bonus, which is in the form of output incentive. Okay, so that is for the premium system. And we have, under premium system, we have multiple premium rate plan. And this plan was formulated by D.V. Merrick. It provides for the payment of 3 different piece rates on the same job depending on performance. And what are these? For a low rate performance below 83%, and then a 10% premium when output increases from 83 to 100%, and a 20% premium when output increases to beyond 100%. So it actually starts from a performance rate below 83%, and then pag 83 to 100% na it increases, and then pag 83 to 100% it increases, and then pag beyond 100% na mag-i-increase ulit. Okay, so slowly it increases. Okay, So, andito yung, it is represented by this table, the table you can see on your screen. So, if the performance is less than 83%, normal piece rate pa lang or the basic piece rate pa lang ang matatanggap ng worker. But then, if the performance is from 83 to 100%, magiging 110% na yung normal. Ay magiging aakyat na to 100% ang matatanggap ng employee. And then, pag more than 100% na aakyat na ng 120%. Okay? So, madadagdagan eventually. Okay? So, for example, if the normal piece rate per hour is 5 per unit, the standard production unit per hour of 10 units, and the standard working time per day is 8 hours. So, the total standard production unit in a day would be 80 units. So, in 8 hours a day, if in 8 hours a day, A produced 70 units, B produced 90 units, C produced, these are the workers, okay, or worker C produced 65 units and worker D produced 110 units. So, to compute for the level of performance for each worker, the formula for level of performance is actual production units divided by standard production unit times 100. So, for worker A, okay, let's go back. To worker A who has produced 70 units, magkakaroon siya ng, so 70 divided by 80, yun 80 kasi yung standard production unit, okay, times 100, ang level of performance niya is 87.5%. For worker B, who has produced 90 units, okay, ang level of performance niya is 112.5%. Para kay worker C who has produced 65 units, of course, following the formula for level of performance, nagkaroon siya ng level of performance of 81.25%. And for worker D, who has produced 110 units, siya yung pinakamataas, nagkaroon siya ng level of performance equivalent to 137.5%. Okay, just follow the formula. Now, how to compute for the earnings of each worker? Paano natin mako-compute yung bayad para sa worker? For each worker, worker A, B, C, and D. For the earnings naman, ang formula will be actual production unit times normal piece rate times premium rate plan divided by 100. Following this formula, we will come up with the following results. So for worker A, his earnings will be 385 pesos. Okay? With that 70 units he produced, his earnings would be 385 pesos. For worker B, with the 90 units he has produced, his earnings would be 540 pesos. And for worker C, who has produced 65 units, his earnings would be 325 pesos. And for worker D, na may pinakamataas na na-produce na units, which is 110, his earnings would be bakit 160 lang? Oh, this is wrong. So, 110 times 5, sorry about this one. Wrong, na-miscalculate. So, 110, let's times 5 is 550. Okay. So, meron dapat siyang 550 pesos of earnings. Okay? So, please correct the earnings of worker D. Hindi 160 lang dapat ito. It should be 550 pesos. Okay? So, Another one is the Halsey Gain Sharing Plan, which provides for guaranteed rate plus a premium for extra output. So in here, the worker receives the same day rate for working at his customary pace, but shares 50% of the gains resulting from output above the standard which he established. And in this method also, a standard time is fixed for the completion of the job, wherein a minimum base wage is guaranteed to every worker. And then if a worker completes his job in just the standard time, he will not be given any incentive. And then if a worker performs his job in less than standard time, he is given incentive. So the incentive will be equal to 50% of the time saved by the worker. So for the formula, okay, we have W, which means total wages, is equal to TR, okay, plus S, that is standard time, minus T, time taken to complete the job, okay, times the rate, of course, in percentage, in percent. Okay, so the formula would be W minus TR plus S minus T times R, which is the rate. So for example, if rate per hour is 3 standard time for completion of job, it's 10 hours. So if a worker completes the job in 8 hours, his total wages will be, let's calculate, 8 times 3, okay, plus 10 minus 8 times 3 times 50%. So his total wages will be 27. In the above example, worker is given an incentive of 50%, so that is 1/2 of time saved. Okay, so let's go to the point premium plan. So it was introduced by Charles E. Beddoe in 1916. So I don't know how to pronounce this one. Please check with me. The plan is similar to the standard hour plan and originally used as a percentage sharing arrangement between labor and management. And then the unique feature of this system is the unit of measurement, which is used to figure premium earnings. So under this plan, all work is reduced to terms of a common denominator to a minute of time called B, with total work performance sum of the B's produced within a given time. And then standard time is expressed in B units. So 60 B units are equivalent to 1 hour's work, and each job is standardized according to a specified number of B units. And employees then receive as an incentive wage a percentage of the number of points earned in excess of the standard 60 units per hour. So in point premium plan, for those who complete the job in less time are paid bonus. Okay, so if let's say you are given 8 hours to complete the job and you have completed it within 6 hours, you are given bonus. And the bonus paid to the work is 75% of the wages for time saved. So the time saved is divided between workers and management. And then the formula for calculating wages under the point premium plan is this. So W is equal to TR plus 75% times S minus T times R, where W means total wages, S is standard time, T means time taken to complete the job, and R means rate. So for example, if standard time for a job is 6 hours, so 360 Bs, and wage rate is, this is RS, rupees, in rupees, is 3 per hour. If a worker completes his job in 5 hours, he will receive 300 Bs and he saves 60 Bs. His total wages will be Okay, 5 times 3 plus 75% times 6.5 times 3 is equal to 15 plus 75% of 3. Then his total wages will be 17.25. Okay, so now we go to the Scanlon plan. The Scanlon plan was developed by Joseph Scanlon, and it is also called a value-added plan. So the incentive formula develops a percentage relationship between total sales value representing a value-added concept to the raw materials and total payroll. Normally, all employees are included in the plan, such as first, any cost of savings of labor efficiency is placed in a bonus fund, and then 75% of ongoing is, or 75% is going to labor's share and 25% going to the firm. And then the 75% is distributed immediately, and the 25% is held in reserve in a case of a deficit in labor cost efficiency should occur. And then this reserve amount is closed out and distributed to the employees at the end of each year. Okay, so for calculation, we have first calculate current year sales and actual labor costs. Second, compare current year sales and current year actual labor cost. Third is to calculate the ratio of fixing hours. Fourth is final standard labor cost is computed using ratio. And then fifth is compare standard labor cost to actual labor cost for bonus payable. So for example, if the given is average annual sales for 4 years, and this is in rupees, okay? Rupees is the currency of India, the country of India. So if the average annual sales for 4 years is amounting to 440,000 rupees, and the average annual labor cost for 4 years is amounting to 120,000 rupees, and for the current year sales is 140,000 rupees, and for actual annual labor cost is 30,000 rupees. So, okay, to compute for the ratio, we have current year sales, and the formula is current year sales minus actual labor costs divided by average annual sales times 100. So the current year sales is 140,000 minus the actual labor cost, which is 30,000, divided by the average annual sales, which is 440,000 times 100. So all in all, the ratio is 25%. And then let's compute for the standard labor cost. So the standard labor cost is equal to the current year sales times ratio divided by 100. So for the standard labor cost, the current year sales is 140,000 times the ratio we have computed earlier on is 25%. Okay, so divide by 100, then it gives us the answer 350,000. Bakit? So 350,000. So let's pretend that it is in peso rather in UP, so rather in rupees. So it is 350,000 pesos. So third is to compute for the bonus payable to members, wherein the bonus is equal to the standard labor cost minus actual labor cost. Okay, so the standard labor cost is 30. If the standard labor cost is 35,000, then less it to the actual labor cost, which is 30,000. Then we will come up with the answer 5,000 pesos as the bonus payable to members. So therefore, Bonus to each member of 10 members group is 500 pesos. Let's pretend that this is in peso rather in rupees. Okay? So, for the group incentive plans, so the output of each worker is measurable in terms of his output so that premiums could be computed on the basis of each individual's production. However, this is not always so. In fact, under many conditions of production, it is impossible to separate the work performed by several persons in order to determine each one's contribution. Where work is closely integrated and inseparable, the joint product of a group of workers, sometimes referred to as a gang, is under the circumstance treated as a unit, and thus the premiums are distributed to the group in proportion to their several base rate. And we have bonus. So what is bonus? Bonus plans are generally after the fact disbursements or money awards. Okay, so bonus are also called awards, okay, which often do not recognize individual differences in production or performance. So in other words, bonus can be called or it is a share the wealth scheme, okay. So they are share the wealth arrangements which distribute proportion of the company's good fortune resulting from many factors irrespective of the separate contribution of each participant. So irrespective or regardless of the performance of each employee, okay, this bonus is being shared by the organization or the company to its employees. Kung halimbawa, maraming ang profit or gain ng company within the year at out of goodwill, okay, pwedeng magbigay yung employer or yung company ng bonus sa kanyang employees. So within recent years, some companies grant bonuses to employees with perfect attendance. And since money has always proved to be a good motivator, somehow this scheme has become quite successful. Such bonuses many consist of periodic awards for perfect attendance in the form of fixed cash sums, okay, or they may be in the nature of extra time off such as additional vacation days. So in giving bonus, it could come in through a fixed cash or an extra vacation, extra time off, extra vacation days, wherein you are being paid. Okay. So we also have what we call fringe benefits. So what is this fringe benefit? So these are indirect wages provided as part of the compensation package. So in collective bargaining, this would include such employer-paid benefits such as on-call pay, vacations, paid vacations, hospitalizations or medical or sick leave or medical sick leave. Okay, you are being paid because you're hospitalized or you're being sick. You will still receive your pay. And then medical programs, life insurance, profit sharing plans, welfare funds, etc. And fringe benefits include all those activities which are not directly concerned with production, but which make the worker a healthier, sounder thinking, more forward-looking. Thus, fringe benefits are those services that would serve to improve the condition of the workers. So any service that would serve to improve the condition of the workers fall under fringe benefits. Okay, so what about non-financial incentives? So we also have these other incentives aside from money that motivate workers to exert greater efforts in production. And this includes records of achievement and employee recognition, opportunity for advanced training, opportunity for promotion, and other similar influences which stimulate performance. And from the viewpoint of employees, promotion could be the road to bigger things. So, a reward for loyalty, recognition of their job, skills, and experience. So, that's it for this week. And I hope you've learned something from our discussion. And for your requirements, please refer to your module. And if you have any queries, if you want to seek clarification, feel free to ask through our group chat or um, through text, or you can message me directly. All right, through Messenger. And it is better if you come to school for a face-to-face consultation. Okay, so that's all for this week. Keep safe, stay healthy, and God bless everyone.